I'm Mark, and this is The Country Life with Columbus Mark, where I try to bring you a lighthearted look at life in the country. Today I'm in my camper at a campground near Boone, North Carolina. It's a KOA holiday, and we're at an elevation of just under 4,000 feet. So even here, in the end of summer, it's comfortable out here. Just a few minutes ago, I bumped into a guy wearing a yellow shirt. His name is Keith Dial, and he actually happens to be a KOA brand ambassador. We sat down for a few minutes. This is that conversation. So we have with us today Keith Dial. And Keith, where are you from?
I'm from Cody, Wyoming.
Oh, you're from Cody.
Yes, sir.
Been there several times.
Beautiful place.
It is. It
Love
is.
Cody.
I know a family that lives there, and they went out, not cowboys when they went out, but they're cowboys now. So
If they say so.
they say so. I don't know that. I know they all ride horses, even the kids.
That's a step in the right direction.
That is. Are you a native of Cody by any chance?
Yeah, I was born in Montana, grew up in Cody.
Okay.
We spent the last 25 years in Billings, Montana, my wife and I.
Keith here is not just camping for fun. He actually has a job, and it involves this beautiful camper that, people have been lined up to take their pictures in front of since we got here, and he did not charge them anything. But he is willing to let me do this interview. So Keith, tell us, what is KOA for anybody who has no clue first?
KOA is an organization of campgrounds. There's over 500 of them. Most of them are franchises. Sometimes a franchise can mean they're owned by a company that has a few parks, a number of parks, or sometimes it can just be a little ma and pa organization. There are only about 50 of them that are actually owned by the KOA corporate office. So almost all of them are franchises. We've been doing this for 7 years, and we had just met the most wonderful people. KOA gives us all this wonderful equipment and says, now go camping. And we do.
And you do go camping. So you go visit various ones, and you have a job not just to visit, but to do what else?
We inspect the campgrounds in the simplest of terms. Our title has changed. It was inspectors for a while, and then it was quality assurance, and we decided we were more important than that, and now we're brand ambassadors because we like to think that we do more than just inspect the campground. So we're out there hoping that we're trying to help them keep their standards up and keep them informed as to what the standards are and visit with the campers. It's the best job in the world.
And I've stayed at several KOAs lately, and one of the reasons I like them, you know what the standards are. They are always clean, the staff is always friendly, and I am not getting paid. I am not staying here for free. I am a member, so I get a discount. But it is a great organization. You can always count on them. So how many a year do you visit, actually?
We'll see about 90 parks this season. We're on the road for about 6.5, 7 months out of the season, so we spend about 2 nights at a campground on average, sometimes less, sometimes a little bit more, but we keep moving. And then we have a month on either side of that we do our paperwork and catch up. And so it's not necessarily a year-round job, which is perfect for us. We were looking for something a little more relaxed than what we had been doing for the last 25 years.
So do you you don't call yourself retired, though, because you are working?
We are working, yeah. It's a semi-retirement. It was perfect for us at the time.
So I haven't asked, but I'm assuming you have a wife back in the van?
I do. My wonderful wife, Julie, is in there, and we got our tightly wound little dog, Piper. She's actually more famous, I think, than we are. She's been in a number of videos, and you never know where you're going to see a photo of Piper.
And actually, I saw Piper with you earlier. That's when I first saw you. Couldn't help stick out because you had on your yellow shirt, and Piper had on a yellow bandana. I didn't notice, does it say a KOA on the back of her bandana?
It doesn't say KOA on the back of her bandana, but she is dedicated.
She is.
She is, and when we're getting ready to pull into a KOA, the Garmin will say, you are arriving at such and such KOA. KOA is how it says it, and she knows that word, and she's up at the window. She wants the window rolled down. She knows KOA.
So We had dogs like that. Yeah, they know the turn. They don't know any words, but they
Right.
knew when we go into one particular property, they were going to have fun. So this trip, you're from Montana now. The headquarters is based in Billings, you said. Is that
Yes, sir.
right? Do you have a certain region do you go to? Every year they change you around.
We
you're in
have
the
a
southeast
region
now.
Yeah,
So.
we do have a region. We did the West Coast for about 5 seasons, and that's the West Coast is the operative term in that it goes all the way over to Montana and down to Arizona, Nevada. Then we shifted east, and then a little bit further east last season. We have most of the east except for the coast and down into Florida. We have one park in Canada, Sault Ste. Marie, beautiful park, wonderful owners.
So how many nights? You usually stay 2. You're here for 2 nights.
2 nights, yep.
2 nights at each one of them.
That gives us time to get to know the owners, a little bit, and get to know the park. And we always encourage campers. You just can't get to know the people or the park if you're only there one night. And granted, people are traveling, but always try to spend a couple nights at a KOA if you can, and get to know the folks that are there.
They have 3 classifications of campgrounds. So explain briefly what those are.
They do. They started this process years ago. I believe it was about 8-9 years ago, right before we started. And it's called branding. And they have Journey, Holiday, and Resort campgrounds. The intent with it was not to necessarily pigeonhole campgrounds, because that can be difficult. There's no 2 out there that are alike. But the premise behind it was that it helps manage the guests' expectations. Journey campground primarily is meant for, usually they're closer to the road, a convenient place to pull in, spend a night, and then get back on the road again. A holiday, you would expect them to have more amenities. Someplace that you might want to spend 3 or 4 days, spend a weekend, see what's going on around the town. And then a resort is pretty much all inclusive. A resort is what you would expect it to be. They're going to have food on site, which a lot of the others do as well, but they're not required to, unlike a resort.
And I'm assuming each level costs more. I realize this has a lot to do with location and demand and whatever, but I'm sure that a resort, I'm guessing, would be more expensive than a Journey.
Not always.
Not always.
Not necessarily the case. As with anything, it's what the market will bear. But no, resorts don't necessarily have to be more expensive than Journeys, because typically Journeys are going to be smaller, so they fill up sooner, so it becomes a supply and demand kind of thing.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've stayed at a Crossville, Tennessee Journey. It was very nice, and they had pizza and chicken wings, so that was fun. And so I wasn't expecting any food. Then I stayed in Fancy Gap at one that was a Holiday, and they had a little barbecue where the guy barbecues himself, makes sandwiches and whatever, and pizza. And now I'm at this Holiday in Boone, North Carolina. And as far as I'm concerned, this resort, there's a swimming pool, and there's a miniature golf, and there's horseshoes and all kinds of stuff you can do. And it's on the rustic side, and we're up at almost 4,000 feet above elevation. So it's 68 or so, 70 degrees right now. It feels good here at the end of August.
Beautiful. It's a perfect day.
I have not yet been to a resort, and I don't think I need all those things, but it would, because I'm basically just sit around, don't do a whole lot of anything except eat, and that's fun with me. So you've been doing this how many years, Keith?
7.
7 years.
Yes.
And I hate to say it this way, but because KOA may hear this, but it never gets old.
It does not get old. It absolutely does not. If it gets old, we'll stop and do something else. We're at that point in our lives. We don't have to do this. We can do something else. We did manage a campground in Southern California for about 1.5 years. Ventura Ranch, KOA, incredibly beautiful place. And we weren't necessarily looking for a manager's job. They had the Thomas Fire come through there and destroyed the campground in 2018. We wanted to go somewhere and spend the winter. California sounded good, and we thought perhaps we could help with the rebuild after the fire. But Scott seemed to think it was best if we became managers, and we were grateful for that opportunity. It taught us a lot more about what it's like to run a KOA campground. It was a wonderful experience.
And I'm sure running one is a lot harder than staying at one, because there's always, some people it's hard to, please.
It can be.
And there's always things to be done. Like, I'm sure they have a ticket every single day of a list of things to punch off or whatever, because I don't know how many acres this one has. I mean, you can see the mountains. It's fun. There's a cow pasture, which doesn't smell. Beyond here, goats beyond. It's a fun place. I'm glad to have discovered this one. Everyone's different. That's what's fun about them.
Absolutely.
Even though there's certain standards you can expect. And you can stay at a KOA, just stay. Anybody's not a private organization you have to belong to, but you can belong to KOA. It's a membership. You can get a membership, which is cheap. And I'm telling you, I have one, paid for itself in like 3 visits.
Doesn't take long.
No, you get 10% off, and every so often they give you bucks, you get 10 extra bucks or something for how many nights you stay. I haven't figured it out yet. You even have free nights. And you even have a program where you support kids in camp, kids who are having health issues, is that right?
Yeah, our care camp. It is a wonderful program, and it is becoming more and more successful every year. Disadvantaged children are able to go camping. KOA just does a wonderful job promoting the program, and the campers are always very receptive. A lot of times if there's something one of the employees does that is above and beyond, and camper wants to give them a tip, he says, "That's great, thank you. This will go towards care camp."
It's interesting, because when I was at the one in Fancy Gap, I bought my food because I didn't want to cook. I love that. And they put a check right on my credit card that says, "You want to do that?" So that's kind of cool. It's like being in a hotel and say, "Yeah, I'm in room 22. But then I went in and said I forgot the tip. So I gave him some money, and she put it right in the care jar.
That's where it goes.
That's where it goes.
Yep, almost exclusively.
That's fantastic.
It is. We used to get quite a few tips in California. We got some tips we didn't care for, but sometimes we would get a tip, and $20 wasn't uncommon, and it would go right in the care camp kitty. And,
well, that's fantastic, because I'm
is.
sure people could use the tips themselves, so to be willing to do that is nice.
Yes, it is.
So when you're not camping in this beautiful travel trailer fifth wheel thing, what are you living in?
We have a coach. We pull a 20-foot cargo trailer behind it. We have an all-wheel drive Mini Cooper in there.
Oh my goodness.
All the tools I couldn't bear to get rid of, which is a lot, when we sold everything back in Billings and went full-time.
So you are full-time?
We are full-time, yes, sir.
Do you have any favorite KOAs you can share with us? Or?
That is the most common and perhaps hardest question we are asked, because my favorite isn't going to be Mark's favorite or anybody else's for that matter. It's a matter of what are you looking for? What do you want? Do you want activities for your children? Do you want to be, some people do, completely away from children? So it's just a matter of what do you like in a campground. We don't really have a favorite. I've tried so many times to think of one, and it's not possible.
Well, my favorite would be one that has a bathroom close by. And even though my van has a bathroom and I am not shy to use it, I would tell you right here where I am parked, there is one bathroom 30 feet away and another one just up the hill. So they've got it covered here at the Boone KOA Holiday. So anything else you want people to know?
Not that I can think of, Mark.
Okay, Keith, well, thank you so much. I tell people, if you haven't started RVing yet, I waited till I was like 67, 68. I wish I had started it earlier. Get out there. You can rent RVs, stay at a KOA. There are 500 of them across the U.S. and a few in Canada, and I don't know about Mexico or whatever.
Not yet.
Not yet, but we got them right here, and I have stayed at about 10 of them. Thank you, Keith.
Thank you. Watch for us.
Absolutely.
Take care.
Thanks for watching. I'm Mark. This is The Country Life with Columbus Mark. Please subscribe, come back often, all those good things. And come check out this KOA outside of Boone. It's got everything. It has cabins you can stay in. There is a tent area. Of course, RV sites of all different sizes. They've got a few games in a game room. They've got cornhole. They've got miniature golf. They've got a swimming pool. They've got a dog park. You name it. Come on out here. It's a great place. Thanks again for watching. Welcome to my neighborhood, wherever that might be.